Wait a second. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so last time we were working on the Twitter login application. So we just asked to the our AI tool. Let's go to the same page. Actually, we were building a Flask application in which user can log in through the Twitter. So in our application, there will be one button, login through Twitter, and whenever user will click on that button, it will redirect to the Twitter, and then after successfully login, it will redirect to our dashboard page. So just I just asked to the Chat GPT or Claude AI to do this, and it provides us three files. First one is app.py. Second one is for HTML, whatever the HTML page we have, and third one is requirement.txt. So accordingly, I just created those files in our application. So I just created one simple Flask application, and after that we just created three files: app.py, requirement.txt, and inside template we have three HTML files, because uh, this HTML code contains three files. First one is base.html, second one is index.html, and third one is dashboard.html. Okay, so index.html for the home page, and base.html for the base or master page, and the dashboard is after successfully login we will redirect to the dashboard.html. Okay, so we just created these three files, uh, and of course we will put all these three HTML pages inside this template directory, because whoever is aware about the Flask architecture, they already knows like all the HTML and static file will be inside the template and static directory only. So I just created the HTML backend file and requirement to install all these requirements to install the dependency to run this application. So we need the Flask login, Flask dance, Alchemy, request. Several libraries are there. Just ignore this one. I just put here. Just let's keep it comment. Okay, let's remove it. So it provides three things, and uh, we have already added all those files into our application, and now we just have to edit some of the configuration in our application. Like it is saying that we for login through the Twitter we need these things like name, Twitter, client ID. It should be client ID copied from the developer dashboard of the Twitter, and client secret authorization URL. It would be same for our application, but these two things we need to copy from the developer portal, and then we just have to paste it here. So let's do this one. So for enabling login through Twitter, we just have to open the developer portal of the Twitter. which is developer.twitter.com, and after that we just have to go to developer portal, and inside we can see our project. So currently we are following a free plan. Actually, Twitter is supporting several plans like free, basic, pro package, in which we have several features like so many user logged in through your login to your applications and access permission and all. But currently we are following the free version of it. Okay, now we can see inside this project app we have one project, and inside this project we have some configurations for this project like overview and settings. So project name is this one, and setting is something like name and some description you can add. And inside overview we have one application is running into our dashboard. So we just have to we have to find out the client ID and client ID and client secret. So for this we can search for it. Currently we have one app running in our one project, and we can edit it. App setting, we can go to the app setting, and then we can find few things like app detail, I mean application name. We can do some editing like let's say, okay, and you can upload the icon also. Let's upload some icon. Okay, let's download Inonetics icon. And save. You can also add some description here, but it's fine. It's optional. Okay, then after that we have some another section, key and tokens. Here we can see we have some key for this application. So these key can be used for several things like whenever user login through these login to our portal, with the help of these key and secret we can ask for the read permission, write permission, or read write permission. Mean you can read the all the blocks given by the user, written by the user, or edit the blocks written by the user. So we can set the setting all these access permission here. But currently we should look for the client ID and client secret only. The rest thing we can ignore. Later we'll see about this. But first we just need to take care of this client ID and client secret. That two things required only to run our application to log in through the Twitter. So let's copy this one, and okay. So we already set all these things. Uh, so let's go through this whole file, a small description of each file. Let's see how exactly it works. So first we are importing all the necessary libraries, and after that we are just configuring the logging. I mean whatever the logs system will generate, we will add. I mean we are setting the logs for it. Like logging is in debug mode only. Currently it is in debug mode. So all the log will run in the debug mode only, and after that we are creating one application, Flask application, and we are setting some secret key for the security purpose. And after that we are creating one engine, create engine SQL DB. Current means we are currently using the SQLite server, and instead of that you can use the MongoDB SQL server, SQLite, anything you guys can use. All right. And then we are creating a session for this server, and then doing some setting. I mean, whether we are going to perform the simple query, session query, or whatever the query will perform, it will we just have to do some configuration for it. So currently we are doing this one, and after that we have one function that is generate code challenge. So later we'll see why we are using this one, because we just copy from the AI tools. So even I don't know why they have written this function. So once we will go through it, we will get to know what is the purpose of this function. So there is one function which will generate code challenge. Maybe it will be useful for let's say authentication purpose, but for now let's leave it. uh, okay, next is login manager init app. Here we are doing, again we are doing some logging configuration, and after that uh, we are configuring the Twitter authentication. Like for the Twitter authentication we need to create OAuth we just have to create a class object OAuth. We already imported this one from here, auth library, and inside this auth we are just registering our authentication application, which is Twitter client, and some of the credential for this authorization purpose. After that we are creating a user class. Why we are using this user class? So basically whenever you guys will go through the Twitter, try to log in through the Twitter, you just need the ID, Twitter ID, and username, so that we can store those information into our server. And that's how we will able to sign up to that user to our platform, and create database tables. So this line will generate all the tables that required to store the information into our database. So basically this query will run on this engine SQLDB. So we have written this thing. After that we are just adding the decorator, that is login manager. So let's see where is the login manager. So here we can see we are just importing from the Flask. So login manager is imported from the Flask application. Yeah. So actually this will help us to maintain the session throughout running of this application. Means, let's say if there is several pages in your website, are you getting my point? In that case, I mean, it's not correct way to ask every time user ID and password whenever they are visiting several slugs of our website. So what exactly Flask is do, they will create a session and store the ID and password and JWT authentication into their cookies or front end section, and then we are communicating with the help of that only. So maybe after few minutes that token will expire and you guys will be logged out. So this manager first will check whether you guys are already logged in or not, and if it is logged in, then it will run this application. And in this application we are sending the user ID, and then we are performing one query, user dot query dot get. Means we are trying to fetch the user information from the database. And what is this user is nothing but this class, where which will contain three things: ID, Twitter ID, and username. Okay. And after that we are defining the root of this application, means all the slugs of this application we are defining here. First one is root. Whenever we will open this one, means base URL, whenever we will open the base URL, that is localhost colon 5000. Let's say if we are running this application at 5000 port, by default it is 5000. Whenever you are running any Flask application, by default it's running on the 5000 port only. So whenever we will run, let's say http colon slash slash local host colon 5000, at that time whenever you will after running this application, if you hit this URL, it will open this page index.html, means we are rendering the template. Which template? Index.html. And where it is? Inside this template index.html. And inside this HTML, what we are doing is, first we are extending the base HTML. And what is base HTML? This is the base HTML. So in this base HTML we have some CSS, heading is Twitter login app, and after that we are adding some information from the Flask, from the backend side, like if user is authenticated, then we are showing this information, dashboard and logged out. And if it is user is not authenticated, then we are asking for the login only. And after that, after showing this navbar, we are showing some more information, like with the message get flash message get categories to for category flash. So basically we are fetching some information from the backend, and then we are showing it. I haven't any idea what exactly it's showing. For this we just have to see the uh, what we can say, we just have to see the backend code, so that there only we will able to find what exactly we are trying to show in the base HTML. So in index HTML we already imported that base.html, means base.html is a master page, and inside that master page we are adding some more content. So the content is something like this. First, we will have the base HTML. Inside this base HTML, we also have some HTML content, and here we are showing some blog content, where we are showing first one is welcome to the Twitter login app, and then we are printing that please log in using Twitter to access the dashboard. Okay, so let's run this application. Let's see how exactly it looks. After that, we will go through the other code. So for running this application, you just have to go to the main.py and just click on this one. Simple. And before running it, please make sure that you have already created the virtual environment. For creating virtual environment, you just have to go through this section. Let me remove this one and then show you. Let me install the virtual environment also. So we are not able to delete from here. So let's go for the Explorer, and from there we can delete. We can check the task manager if any file is running. Nothing is running. So let's try to delete it from Explorer. Yeah. Now let's see how to add the virtual environment in PyCharm for your project. So just click on this one. I mean, if there is no interpreter is selected for your project, it will show add new interpreter here. Currently it's showing like 3.10 Python 3.10 Twitter login app, but whenever you haven't added any virtual environment, then it will show add new interpreter. So just click on this one and it will show some menu. Here you just have to click on add new interpreter, add local interpreter, and then make sure that you already installed the Python 3.10 or above. So I have already installed. So it is asking for the virtual environment name, so I'm just putting it as .venv and selecting the Python interpreter. Here you have several choice, like you can use this anything, but I will suggest that just try to use that user, then username of your system, app data, local Python version, and then python.exe. In case of Windows or Linux, or sorry, not Windows, Mac and Linux, whatever the path it's showing, just choose the default one for the safe side. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The virtual environment is already get added, but the thing is that you just have to install all the requirements that needed to run this application. So for installation, first you just have to do is just close all the terminal which is already opened in the PyCharm, and after that open it again, because recently you just created a virtual environment, right? So either you can activate with the activation command, or you can simply close the already open terminal and then simply click on this open new terminal. So whenever you are opening the new terminal, it will automatically detect is there any virtual environment in the current directory available. If it is available, then it is opening it immediately, I mean automatically. Okay, so here we can see it's already activated .venv. So you can see whenever you will activate any virtual environment, you will able to see the name of the current virtual environment. Otherwise, it will show simply PS. If base environment is activated, in that case you will not able to see anything here. If it is activated, then it will show the virtual environment here. Now we have to install all the dependency. So you can type one command pip install -r file name, this file name that contains the all dependencies. Simply enter. So it will install all these libraries. Or you can do one more thing, like one by one you guys can install with simple command like pip install flask, pip install flask login, pip install flask dance, or escalate me. So like this you can install one by one, or you can have one single file and simply you can type pip install -r requirements.txt. You can change the name of this file accordingly. I mean, if you want, you can change the name. You just have to change the file name in the command pip install -r, then file name only. So it's already installed. We have installed all the files that require to run this application. So now let's run this application. So maybe we can run from there. Just click on app.py and then this play button. Run. No module or clip. Let's add this in this application, or you can install the additional. I mean, when you are running this application, if let's say some libraries are missed, then you will get a message like this library, this module not found. So if it is, if you find any log like this, you can install it manually, like pip install author. Now run it again. Yeah, it's running. Now Flask application is running at this URL. Localhost and port number is 5000. You can change the port number, but for now let's choose the default one. So this one is the index.html. Here we can see index. First we have one base HTML. The first thing is Twitter login app. Let's see what we are getting. Twitter login app. Can you see that? Okay, the title of this Twitter login app. Okay, this title, and after that, so we are getting few more things, like we are showing some information. Like if user is authenticated, till now we haven't logged in, right? So it is just showing this dashboard and logged out. Two button should be there, or Twitter to login. Okay, sorry, is authenticator. I'm just if already logged in, then only it will show these two. Otherwise, it will ask for the login. It will ask for the login with the Twitter. So it's showing that login with the Twitter, login with the Twitter. And after that, what exactly it's showing? We are showing some content, and what content it is? It is coming from the, let's say, index. Welcome to the Twitter login app. Please log in using the Twitter to the access the dashboard. So as we can see, welcome to the Twitter login app. Please log in to the logged in using Twitter to access the dashboard. All right. So till now we have seen this index.html, base.html, and how we are getting these content from the browser. So for showing these two content, we have one route which is simple root, this only. So this is rendering the content of this index.html. Now what next? So next should be, whenever we will click on this one, new page should open, right? New page should open, and that page should call some Twitter internal functionality, so that we will able to log in through the Twitter. So we should call one API, means there should be another slug inside our application, and that slug and inside that slug or route we should have some login mechanism. So here we can see, let's see what exactly it is. First try to find out the button, login button. what exactly happening whenever we have one login button. So inside this we have something. What exactly it is? URL for login. So it is showing that we are getting some login URL. And how did you find what login URL we are calling? What login URL we are calling? So let's see where we can find out. Where we can find the login URL. Just inspect this HTML. Inspect. Whoever is missing the class, they just miss a lot of things. Okay, so finally we just got the URL. The URL is slash login. Now we will check whether we have defined the route for this slash login in our backend code or not. So let's see our app.py. Okay, till now if anyone have any confusion then can ask. Very
No,
simple.
sir.
Hmm. Yeah, so very simple. Obviously, whenever we will click on this button, there should be one URL defined into our application that will serve, that will run our login mechanism, right? Correct. So, for to find out what URL, I mean, what exactly URL will call whenever we are clicking on this one. So, I just try to inspect it, and then simple, we are able to find it. The slug is slash login. So here we can see the login route slug is already defined. So whenever we will click on that one, this function should call. So let's run it in debug mode so that we can understand the functionality. So I'm just running this into debug mode. So for again, let me tell you the how to run the debug mode. So for debug mode, let's say I just want to check from here. So I will add one breakpoint here, and then I have already configured this app.py here. So for the configuration, you can check it. App. So whenever you will run like this, let's say for the first time, you just have to run the application like this. Right click, run app, or you can go to the down and then you can click on this one. So let me remove this one so that you will get. Okay, so whenever you will open this project for the first time, you will see like this. But whenever you will run this application for the first time, you will get like this app.py. All right. So, and after that, you can try to debug it. Or second option is you can add this thing manually. For adding this, you can let's say if you want to do it manually, let me remove this one, and then you will able to add. So how to add? Just run or on this current file, or you can edit the configuration. So to add the configuration, you can choose the Python, and then you can choose the file that you want to run. So for now, maybe you guys can skip because there's so many variables are there. You can change the name like app, and there will be one. You just have to choose the file Python interpreter, and then if your project is a script, if you are running on a script, then you can choose the script, otherwise you can choose the modules. So later I'll tell you what is the difference between script and module. Hope some of you already know about it, but you can choose like this, like Twitter, then this, then app.py. Okay, and here you can type run server. And working directory, obviously you guys can choose. Okay, and then it should be same, and also you can add a few more things, but later I will tell you what things you should add here. But for now, just keep as it is. And okay, okay, apply and run. Or if you don't know anything, simple, do one thing, delete. I'm just deleting this one. Like this you can run this application. Yeah, it's run successfully, right? But if you don't know anything, simply right click on it. But whenever you will have some complex project, you have to manually define these things. That's why I just told you how to do it. But for now, because we have one simple file, single file to run this application, so that's why I just telling you, just right click and run. And now we just have to run this into the debug mode, so I'm just clicking on the debug. Let's wait for some time to run this code. Okay, some no such file or directory. Cannot open app data local JetBrain. No such file or directory. Debug is okay. Wait a second now. Ah, Devashi, I just told you one parameter in that meeting. Did you remember it? Hello. Yeah, Devashi.
Hello.
Can you open your
Yes, sir.
yeah? Can you open that project that I just told in that meeting? There was one parameter that we are passing into run application. Just open your application and check this
Okay,
line.
sir.
I just told you one parameter. Yeah.
Sir, I'm also checking, sir.
Yeah, just open that project only and then check. So it was, I guess, reload.
Yes, sir. I think one method is about this error, sir. Also forget about this. I'm opening. my projects.
Yeah, use reload, I guess it was. Use reloader. Yeah, I guess it's running now. Okay, so uh, okay, so we are running it in debug mode. So ideally, what should happen whenever we will call that we will click on that button. This function should highlight. So let's click on that button and let's see whether our debugger. Yeah, it's come to this line, right? So now we can see secret token user save. So our this function, I guess, no, generate the code challenge. Okay, it's different thing. So basically, we are creating one uh, code verifier something. I mean, which is required to log into the Twitter. Here we can see we are sending this code verifier to this function generate code challenge, and it will return some kind of secret code that will send to the Twitter server to maintain the security, to maintain the session, or something like this. I'm not sure about it, but it will help us to maintain the security because every third party API have some authentication services, security maintenance services. So like that, Twitter also have some kind of security measures. So I'm just so here we are creating some token, some hash token URL save, and then we are also creating some session, and then we are finding out that redirecting URL. So for I mean all these are defined from the Twitter documentation. We don't need to do anything with this. So we just have to copy this code from the Twitter documentation and just paste it. So all the backend portion, how to validate the client ID, how to validate the client secret, all this will happen on the Twitter server. So they are just simply giving one function that will help us to log into the Twitter only. So here we can see first we are running this code verifier. Here we will get some kind of hash, and then it is generating some. Then we are setting code verifier into this session directory or class, anything. It can be anything, and then we are trying to fetch the redirect URL, and this URL for is already defined here inside this helper.py. I mean, it's some kind of library. We're getting this, so we are getting this URL. So what here we can see this is our redirect URL means after successfully login, it will redirect to this URL. And we have already set this thing over application. Here we can see whenever you will open your dashboard. Just okay, just go to the setting, edit. I mean, in this application we can see these things. I mean, we can do some setting for our application. I'm just editing it, like app permission is read only, type of app is web app, and then here we have to define the redirect URL. Getting my point means after successful login, where should our control go? I mean, at what API our application should go, what URL, what uh, slug our application should go. So we just have to define all these things, and that things also you have to fill. But for now, this one is important. The rest you guys can ignore for now. But whenever you are going for the production, you should have to carefully fill all these things. But because we are doing for the testing purpose, that's why I've just you guys have to just do this setting only. login authorize, and make sure it should be read only and it should be web or native, anything you guys can choose, but just make sure this should happen. Read should happen for now. You guys can make it this also, read and write, but currently here we can see we just define the read permission. uh, Read twitter.read user.read. The scope is only read. All right. Okay, now just execute the code. So it will return the message that we are getting from authorization function and see what happened to UI. Yeah, it's redirecting to Twitter. So in you just have to click on this one. Now control should redirect to this, right? This URL. So there should be one slug defined like this: login authorize. So we just have to check, is there any route is defined like this? Yes, we already have this login authorize. Here we can see we have defined this login authorize. So there should be some backend code for handling this URL. So we have already defined. So let's try to debug this also. But as we have already logged in, so let's logged out it again. Okay, so this one is the dashboard. Let me tell you, this one is the dashboard. So we haven't had any much content in this dashboard because we are just doing testing for the Twitter login logout. So we haven't defined much in this dashboard. Okay, so you can see like the name Mukul Kirti and all these things. So this is the user ID of my Twitter account. Okay, okay, we will discuss it later. But for now, let's log out and try to log in again, so that we can check the this function also. Which one? This one. So I just put the breakpoint here also, and now after login, let's see what happened. So okay, now click next. Okay, after this, I mean, successful login, we are getting this. It is checking the code verifier. So whatever the code verifier is generated in this we just have to match with this. So we are extracting the, I mean, from the session, we are popping up the code verifier. We have already set the code verifier here inside the session. Now we are extracting it. Now prepare token request parameters. So we just have to fetch some token. We because we have to set some token for the authorization, so that for the each slug it will not ask for the login. So that's why I'm telling you. So we just have to set some token. So for accessing token, we just have to send some parameter to this API, Twitter API. We just have to call this API with this parameter. So we are defining the parameter, that is grant type code redirect to errand code verifier. What does it mean? Let me tell you. Uh, okay, so here we can see currently it's just rounding. Why? Because our authorization is successful from the Twitter, but not from our server. So for verifying, I mean for the authorization from our server, we should do some verification. So so that it will sync the information whether we are sending the detail of the user to the correct server or not. It should not be like we are requesting for the server A and it is responding to the server B. Twitter should not respond to the server B. That's why that there should be verification. That's why it's doing it. So first, this code is to verify from the Twitter side. This one is for verify from the our side. So again we are sending one request, post request, Twitter or token. It will fetch the token and all to set the session, so that it will not ask again and again the user ID or password or anything. All right. So we just have to send this parameter to this API. And I'm not writing this code. Frankly, this code is come from the Twitter documentation only. They will handling internally. I don't know how, but they are handling. So that is the beauty of APIs. You just have to use one function, simple one function, and the whole code will run to the third-party server. Okay, so now this is the final verification, and if the success code is 200, 200 means success. If it is 400, then fail. So it is successfully logged in, and here you can see the console. We just got invalid request. Error discount value passed for the authorization code was invalid. So you're getting some kind of invalid things. I don't know what it is. Let's see. But for now, it is showing some error. Token request failed. Request text. We are printing the request text. Value passed from the authorization was the invalid. So maybe due to some lack of time, I mean delay, because we are running it into the debug mode. So maybe there are some uh, timeout defined into the Twitter, so that if we are not doing verification within a second, within a 10 second, 50 second, in that case it will throw the error. So that's why maybe we are getting this one. I'm just telling you the functionality. I'm just debugging this function, how exactly it works, and later we will try to log in again to check whether our code is working correctly or not. But for now, let's see how exactly it works. So here we are also able to check we are getting the error. Ideally it should, okay, right, correct. It's not 200. I was thinking about why it is showing the error for 200. It's not 200. It's not equal. It's not 200. Obviously. So if its status code is not 200, then we are showing some error. And if it is successful in that case, what we are doing is we are getting the token. So this token response will have some token, and inside this token we have some access token also. And again we are preparing one header, which is authorization and content type, and we are setting this bearer. So basically here we are setting the token from the front end to the front end, so that every time we will not ask the ID and password. So we just have to prepare one payload. Basically we are calling this payload, and then we are sending, again we will send to the Twitter to set all these things to the user side, so that every time it will not ask for the login. So we are setting, I mean, okay, again I'm telling you. So what happened, for an example, let's take one example. Let's say in your project there is three page: profile 1, profile 2, profile 3. For an example, let's say profile 1, profile 2, profile 3. And for all these three page, and let's say one more page is there, let's say home page. Home page doesn't require the login. Simply you can access the home page of that app, of sorry, that application. For an example, uh, let's say if we are opening the login page, it will not ask for the login for opening login page. Correct? Are you getting my point? Means in one project there are several things. Like some pages will not ask for the login, but some pages require to login. Are you getting my point? For an example, let's say um, Kaggle. Let's say Kaggle. Whenever we are opening this page, it will not immediately asking for the login, right? Let me log out. Yeah. So here we can see it is this is the Kaggle homepage. It's not immediately asking for the login. It is showing some page. But whenever you are trying to get some personal thing like some personal pages, then it will ask for the signing. Let's say if we are trying to create a notebook, then it will ask for the login. It should ask for at least. So it is already asked. Sorry, it is not asking for the um, what can I say? Login. It currently it's not asking for the login. Let's see. Let's try to do something else, and after that, let's see whether it is asking for asking or not. Okay, file. Yeah. Whenever we are clicking on this that data set page, then it is first is asking for the login. So in the same way, in our website also there will be some pages that will not ask for the authorization, and there will be some page that will ask for the authorization. Are you getting a point? So, so whenever some pages are asking for the authorization, let's say we have 4 pages in our website, they require the authorization, right? Right. So let's log in for this page. Let me try to log into this page. Yeah. Now we just read after logging successfully login, we redirected to this dataset uh, page. Now again click on, let's say click on model, and again click on this dataset. Now whenever we are next time we are clicking on this dataset, why it's not asking for the login? Because we already logged in. And how it get to know that we already logged in with this email ID and password? How it get to know? To get to know these things, what exactly people are doing, we are setting up some session for this website. And for setting up that session, I mean, uh, for setting up that session, we are setting some access token to the front end here, or client side, we can say, not the front end, client side. We are setting up that access token here. Let's try to check if there is any access token is defined or not. I will try to show. I'm not sure about it, but let's try to check if there is any access token is defined or not. To check if there is any access token is defined or not, you just have to inspect the element and go to the network part. And then let's try to open one API request. Sorry, this one. Yeah. Yeah, here you can see the token, some kind of token. So these token are setting to your front end, and the hacker is using this access token to hack your accounts. If anyhow they are able to access these token like XSRF token. So basically this one is for the security purpose. So whenever you just log in through the currently I just log in through the Gmail, right? So whenever you are logging through the Gmail or any third party server, they are generating one token and saving that token to the client side as well as the backend side. Like here we can see we are getting some token here, and that access token should be set here also. So we are setting, we already set it that token here. You can see code verified, or maybe this one is different, or access token is different. I haven't go through exact code of it, so maybe it can be different. But we just have to maintain that token from the front end and back end, so that whenever user will request for any page that require the authentication, along with that, request, we are just sending that access token to the backend, and backend will match that access token, that front end access token from the backend access token for the authorization. And if it is matched, then it will not ask again for the login, and it will serve the request. But if that access token fails, I mean doesn't match, in that case it will ask for the login again. Are you getting my point? So that's how it exactly works. Any confusion till now? Then can ask simply. No question. Okay. Okay, so we are preparing the header. Here we can see this access token set into the header, right? So like this, we are setting that access token here, and then we are again requesting to the Twitter to set this token ID, name, and all. And then if it is successfully set, in that case we are getting the data like user information. We are fetching that user information, preparing object, and redirecting to the dashboard after successfully login. And what exactly dashboard contain? It contain welcome and username. Here we can see what we are sending to the dashboard. Here we can see login user will contain this user, and this user will contain, just click mouse here and then press the control and then click the left mouse button, then you will redirect to this object. So this contain id, Twitter id, and username. So ideally we should, here should be user dot username. So that's how we are showing the username to the front end. So let me log in again so that you will able to get the username here. So that's how it's working. Like we are doing some code verification, then we are getting the token, and after that we just have to set the token, access token, from Twitter side and our backend side. And then if it is successfully set, in that case we are just redirecting to the dashboard, and in that dashboard we are sending the user information to show the username, and then simply redirect. Oh, okay, sorry. You see here, if successfully login, then redirecting to dashboard, and if it is fails, in that case we are redirecting to index.html. All right. So let's try to log in again. Let me stop and run it. Yeah. So here we can see the username. So that's how this project works, and that's how you guys can debug the code. And Ujjwal and Dipal, you guys can now able to understand it. You guys can relate like how exactly these codes are working. So here we can see we are not exactly sending the Mukul Kirti. Like here we are able to see this Mukul Kirti, but here what we are sending the variable name, not exactly the value. So this value will come from the backend side. So backend code is there inside crowd. So inside here we can see we are redirecting to dashboard, but first we are compiling the information. We are fetching the user detail and then preparing the detail with this function login user. where we are sending the user information and all, and then we are just redirecting to this dashboard. Okay, maybe after completing those video, you will have some good idea about this, how exactly this work, these syntax works, like single braces, then percent, and double presses. So you will get some idea about this one whenever you are finishing that code. Sorry, videos. Okay. So, okay, Rohit, now you can stop recording, Rohit and Ujjwal, and just send that video to me. I'll see. I mean, to the channel, and we'll see.